Hey everybody, it was Ark Hillman here. So now it appears a Christian employee in New York who was an account clerk. It doesn't really say much about who the employer was or anything, but he was suing his employer in the state of New York for firing him for being a Christian, refused to attend anti-Christian. Let's call that LGBT. How about that? Yeah, the rainbow flag crowd and all that. LGBT. I'm just going to call it LGBT, right? I mean, it's constantly changing and everything all the time, but yeah, so he was forced to attend apparently an in-person attend meeting that was pro LGBT, and he's not pro LGBT, and it contradicted not didn't just contradict his belief, but he asked HR about the details of it, and they said that it talked about his belief specifically promoted anti-LGBT and caused harm and everything like that. So it was specifically against his own personally held beliefs that have been practiced for thousands of years, because apparently a LGBT employee was going through a gender transition, they said, and demanded accommodation. And of course, with cultural Marxism and everything, specifically, it is absolutely with intersectionalism. It is important to understand this, that the very root of intersectionalism is white man bad, specifically, especially Christian white man bad. And apparently, this guy, checks off every single one of those balances. So, again, this is not him just, doing his job, not caring what anybody else does. This is forcing him to attend a training that says that he is perpetuating harm by existing. Under intersectionalism, even right on the government's own NIH website, that's the National Institute of Health, by the way. The thing that, Fauci worked for, so pretty influential, pretty powerful, has extreme control over every major corporation, including who this guy worked for. And it states that being white is a parasite. Whiteness that you were inherently born with, being white, makes you a parasite, a human parasite. I'm not joking, it says that. That by your very existence, you're causing harm to the marginalized. And this being at the absolute top of the marginalized list, your presence, your very existence is harmful. In particular, your ancient faith that you practice. So, again, that is straight, openly anti Christian. And yet the court threw it out, ruled in favor of the LGBT training that the employees are backing. That you still have to, as an employee, attend to and agree with this system that forces you to deny your belief, that forces you to, this is not coexistence, this is not tolerance, this is not, again, anything like that. It's telling you that you are an oppressor. Therefore, they can and will take action against you accordingly, because your very presence can be uncomfortable, right? Oh my goodness, they hold beliefs against my existence. Now you created this fictitious existence. By the way, going forward from here, just a heads up, this is not for children. The very topic itself, I've kept it clean up until now, but the very nature of the topic itself and everything is not appropriate for children, teenagers, anything like that. So go and click off right now, because from where it's going from here. Because, I mean, the rainbow flag itself was designed specifically, as you see in the picture here, designed to rip off and mock the stripes of the American flag. It was designed to mock and rip off the promise of life made in the Bible. Because, again, this is the specific lifestyles that lead to disease and death, and I mean, and not reproduction or anything like that. That is an exact opposite and mockery of the norm in the nature, the natural equation, if you will. It is even the flag. This is a flag, was a mockery of the Bible and the rainbow, and rainbow as God's promise, and the American flag. It's designed as a mockery of Western civilization itself, and these are the Western people and the most common Western faith of the Western civilization, and the main household provider, the Western male, the Western Christian male. So again, everything that it contradicts is now, by existing, by practicing the ancient faith of your ancestors, is now harmful. Your existence being harmful. So this is a flag that celebrates sodomy. Think about that. Publicly endorses and celebrates sodomy. Publicly proclaims it. Nobody was stopping anybody from living their life. If you're not going to agree with someone's lifestyle, if someone comes up and says, "Hey man, I'm an alcoholic," say, "Oh man, well hopefully you get help. That's not a good lifestyle." What, dude? You're an anti-alcoholic. Sounds stupid, right? No, that's the direction we're going. I'm sure they'll probably get around to that too, right? If you say being an alcoholic is not healthy and it's not moral, you feel bad for the people suffering from it. But if they're suffering a mental illness that they self treat with alcoholism or whatever, then and that's a mental illness. And then they can say, oh, people have a genetic propensity toward addiction. Being alcoholic is something that's healthy. And then when they destroy their liver and pharma and everybody makes a ton of money off the side effects from calling alcoholism a happy and positive thing and that you have to accept it and that alcoholics were oppressed throughout all of history. And again, they just reframe wording and reframe history and deliberately ignore aspects of reality. And because your founding, your sense of reality is again more grounded in the objective reality, and you're not okay with lifestyles or an imaginary identity that defies biology that they're trying to force you to acknowledge, then again, that violates this guy's actual faith of forcing him to attend this training and agree with it that contradicts what he believes in. So they did. They fired him for failing, and here is how the state justified it. Let me show you. So right here, the HR director told him that the training would force him to recognize the difference between sex and gender, which, again, that's completely idiotic statement. Even the scientific community has been trying to push back against this. Social construct, whatever, only acknowledges the binary reality of biological sex, male or female, and understanding aspects of identity, whether it's made up or not, understanding how beliefs, feelings, values perpetuate oppression. So in other words, your very base ancient beliefs, grounded in reality, your feelings and your values, again, your moral principles, you perpetuate oppression. To have these values, be born who you are, be born into the family and the belief system that you were born into, the ethno-religious background you were born into, as being born into an ancient Christian belief system and group, that if you don't publicly celebrate sodomy and a made-up gender identity, that if you're not okay with it, that if you don't attend the training calling you an oppressor for existing, again, this is now okay, apparently according to the state, because this is how the judge justified it. It said that he was fired for refusing to attend training. Oh no, not because of his religious beliefs. Yeah, attend training and agree with the training that disagrees with his religious beliefs, and even tells him that his religious beliefs are no longer acceptable in the workplace. Not that he's practicing his religious beliefs in the workplace, but that they're trying to force someone's lifestyle onto him and to recognize it and to accept it and accept his role as an oppressor, which again means that he can be legally abused for the sake of the person claiming oppression with their made-up identity. That is where we are at in society. Again, any backlash against this, what do you think is going to happen? You're trying to force people to publicly celebrate sodomy. This isn't live and let live. This isn't tolerance. This isn't anything like that. You're trying to castrate children. You're trying to teach children about fake made-up gender ideology and lure them into it, trying to indoctrinate them from childhood. And then you're trying to force people to deny the ancient base moral of any aspect of their religion whatsoever. As I've heard before, Aaron McIntyre on Twitter said it perfectly, that leftism will gut your religion and then wear its skin as a trophy. That's exactly what they're doing here. Now, it's legal to fire you for refusing to attend training that says that your existence is that of an oppressor and that your faith is that of an oppressor against a person and their made-up identity. That's where we're at. Speak out against this accordingly. And this is going to form a major parallel economy. There's no other way this can go anywhere else. And any parents that still have their kids in public school, why? I get it's difficult for people or whatever, but you can't deny what your kids are going to be exposed to. And you better at least be vocal at your local school board meetings, because apparently this guy worked for the education system. This is what they're going to face. This is what the employees are facing. They're forcing out any Christian employees or anybody who doesn't at least willing to conform to child mutilation and castration and gender bending. So again, this is where we're going. Public celebration of sodomy and indoctrination to children, to castrate children. Speak out against it, or else this is what's going to become the norm. Largely already is. This is Ozark Gilman. You'll have a good one.